Good afternoon. This is the regularly scheduled meeting for the Caldwell Hearing Examiner for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026, and it is 1:30. This is a public hearing, and my name is Sabrina Durchie, and I'll be your hearing examiner today. I can hear quasi-judicial decisions concerning particular land use applications for the City of Caldwell. During this public hearing process, public oral testimony will be taken from those in attendance and those who have signed the sign-up sheet to speak, which is available at the front of the room. When you testify, you must come to the podium. Please speak into the microphone and state your full name and address. All comments should be addressed to the hearing examiner and should be relevant to the application. Once the public hearing is opened, we will first hear from staff and then the applicant or the applicant's representative. They will be given 10 minutes to speak. Public testimony will then be opened to anyone that has signed up to speak in favor, neutral, or in opposition of the application. This person will be limited to 3 minutes of testimony. Finally, the applicant or the applicant's representative will then be permitted for a 5-minute rebuttal. After the rebuttal is given, the public hearing portion of the hearing will be closed and no new oral or written testimony will be allowed unless I decide to reopen the public hearing. We request that everyone treats all parties with fairness and respect. We are required by Idaho State Code to take written minutes of all of our public hearings. Therefore, please silence your cell phones throughout the duration of this hearing. Thank you. And I'm going to take a look at our agenda. So first thing on our agenda is our consent calendar, and that is to approve the December 23rd, 2025 and January 13th, 2026 hearing examiner meeting minutes, which I know I have provided and signed. We have no new old business, and so we do have an action item. So we have 2 items on for new business. Action item number 2 sounds like it'll be a case to be rescheduled. Do we need to reschedule that to a date certain? This is Land Architect LLC on behalf of Patriots Land LLC rezone from R1 to R2 on a preliminary plat.
Madam Hearing Examiner, that was continued to a date certain for the planning and rescheduled to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay,
so
great.
We don't need to.
Okay. I do want to let everyone know that if you're here for item number 2, that case was rescheduled with the Planning and Zoning Commission. And so now we will address our action item number 1. This is case number SP 25-09 and ZON 25-05. The applicant, ALC Architecture, on behalf of Bennett Forest Industries, Inc., is requesting a rezone of a portion of parcels R32582, 00000 and R32518, 00000 from C2 to R2 to include a development agreement, as well as an approval of a preliminary plat for Ambrosia subdivision. This is a mixed-use subdivision with 8.42 acres of commercial along Eustick and 10th Avenue, and the subdivision will also include 5.03 acres of single-family residential homes with a density of 8.6 units per acre. Okay, Katie, thank you.
Thank you,
Staff
Madam
report,
Hearing
please.
Examiner. ALC Architecture on behalf of Bennett Forest Industries, Inc. is requesting a rezone of a portion of parcels R32582 and R32581 from C2 to R2, as well as approval of a preliminary plat for Ambrosia subdivision, a mixed-use subdivision with 60 single-family homes and 6.21 acres of commercial. The applicant has submitted an updated landscape plan and preliminary plat to address a few conditions. These will be updated in the packet before being finalized. And the subject property is 16.57 acres located at the southwest corner of 10th Avenue and Eustick Road. The parcels are currently located within the city with the C2 Community Commercial Zone. The applicants requested a rezone of the southern 8.84 acres from C2 to R2 and will keep 7.73 acres C2. The site is about 16.5 acres and is located in a largely developed area in which municipal services are already available. The applicant's proposing a mixture of single-family residential detached homes and commercial development along the arterial street frontage, which conforms with the purpose statement as specified within Caldwell City Code for R2 community residential zones and C2 community commercial zone. The proposed density is 6.79 dwelling units per acre, which is less than required by city code, which requires 8 to 15 dwelling units per acre. The parcel is located along the key corridor overlay. The purpose of this overlay is to connect people and help them move through the city, but also serve as a distinct place that's high profile. They utilize streetscape elements with distinct landscaping, signage, or similar placemaking elements to create a sense of place as one moves along the corridor. As part of this project, the applicant's requesting to submit design is required, to submit design review for commercial buildings fronting Ustick and 10th Avenue that include building frontage, fronting the streets with parking in the rear, specific street landscaping, and elevations. The subject parcel is currently being utilized as farmland. The property is surrounded by residential to the south, commercial to the east and west, and Ustick Road to the north. On the north side of Ustick, there are larger residential lots. The subject site's located within the community center place type within the comprehensive plan. The community center is primarily low-intensity commercial place type. However, it does allow for some higher density residential uses that can transition the commercial uses to surrounding residential uses. The requested R2 zone is compatible zoning district within the community center place type. The comp plan also calls out this area as an area hub, which encourages increased intensity and density of development. This should be focused around a large gathering space, park, or similar major public amenity. Area hubs and community centers should be 3 to 5 stories in scale at their core, and then transition in intensity and scale from surrounding uses of less intensity should be included. The large scaling of building is not codified, so this is not required by code, but the building scale shall be reviewed at time of building permit to be compatible with the surrounding area. The preliminary plat request is for 60 single-family detached lots. The project also proposes 6.21 acres of commercial. A late exhibit preliminary plat and landscape plan reduced the buildable single-family lots from 63 to 60 to accommodate additional open space. 10% open space is being provided at 0.88 acres, where 10% is the required minimum. The development will have right-in, right-out access off of Ustick Road to the commercial portion and right-in, right-out access off of 10th Avenue. There will also be access from Kimball Avenue along the west boundary of the site, which will be full access. Due to the size and scope of the development, a traffic impact study is required prior to plans review. The applicant's requesting the proposed reduced density of 6.8 dwelling units per acre through the development agreement because the proposed project still serves the intent of the comp plan and the code, providing a smoother transition from the larger residential lots to the south and the commercial that's required along 10th and Ustick. To fit open space in the commercial uses on this site, it's hard to meet the density without going below the allowed lot size for the R2 zone while keeping the single-family detached product type. If the development agreement is approved, the proposed project meets code requirements. All utilities are available or will be available to serve the proposed land use. Political subdivisions, including school districts, were notified and provided opportunity to comment. No agency commented with concerns. And then public notices were sent to all property owners within 500 feet radius of property. Ray and Sherry Mariscola commented in opposition, stating concerns regarding the density, the residential being prioritized rather than the commercial, and the potential danger of the stub street leading to their backyard. Laura Shannon commented in opposition, stating this project is too focused on residential and that more commercial is needed. We received a late public comment from Linda Davis in opposition due to the density of the housing and that there'll be 2 stories. This has been provided to the hearing examiner and will be in the finalized packet. These are the site-specific conditions. Based on the late exhibits that were provided by the applicant, staff recommends that the removal of condition 5 and 7B be removed due to these late exhibits meeting these conditions. And staff's initial review found that the proposed project is in conformance with all applicable city codes, approval criteria per city code and the Idaho code, the adopted comp plan and future land use map, and all other adopted master plans and city policies. The hearing examiner has the authority to recommend approval or denial on these applications based on the approval criteria within Caldwell City Code once they've reviewed the record and evidence and heard all public testimony. And I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Katie. Can we go over their newly proposed open space one more time?
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Hearing Examiner, so this is two plans ago, which I don't believe. Sorry. Is no longer applicable. They sent one that updated just a little bit. There's lot 23 in the middle of those southern lots. They got shaved off of that and moved over to lot 13, I believe it is, over along the west boundary so that it would be considered qualifying open space. That open space in the center was just too small to be counted as usable, as well as some of the end caps. And then a piece that's up towards kind of the northeast portion along the commercial, that was also going to be too small to be counted towards the qualifying open space. So they just modified their plans a little bit, got rid of 3 of the lots. So originally it was the 63 single-family
So now
homes
we're
that they
at
were
60.
proposing. Now we're at 60 so that they could accommodate some of those, or the open space requirements. And then it did also decrease the density a little bit.
And so on your slide, it says 9.7% open space.
That is also inaccurate.
Okay.
Their new plan that they sent to me today does bump them to 10%, so I apologize.
So they're right
Yeah.
at 10. Okay, I
Yes,
just wanted, I
correct.
saw that, I'm like,
Thank
that's
you.
not 10%.
Yeah, all of this will be updated in the finalized packet, but
Sure.
again, for clarification for the record, they are at 10% right now.
Okay,
With their new
perfect.
plan, that is not the one on the screen, but the one that's been provided to you as the late exhibit.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for the
you.
clarification. I don't think I have any other questions at this moment.
Okay.
So I'll let the applicant or the applicant's representative
Perfect.
come up
Thank
and
you.
speak. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Jeff Likes, 1119 East State Street, Eagle, Idaho, 83616. We're here to represent Ambrosia Subdivision, as Katie put so well. Hopefully we can address some of those things that have come up, and we'll move on from there. So the site is 16.56 acres, southwest corner of 10th and Ustick, just currently behind the Walgreens that is there. And it goes from basically 10th over to Kimball Street, which is on this map. It's been installed for the Sotera subdivision as well. There is a light there as well as Kimball there. So summary of the proposed use. Again, we're going to rezone 8.84 acres from C2 to R2. Preliminary plat is for 60 lots. As Katie pointed out, we have reduced that down from 63 down to 60, just to accommodate the 10% of open space with that. So we have about 39% of this is going to be commercial, 37% is about single-family residential. There's 22% that is being pushed out to the right-of-way. That's on here as well, and we'll go over that in a minute. And 10% open space is almost about 2% of what the overall site is. Hopefully this will help clarify some of the questions on what happened with the landscape plan today. This plan is not 100% there, but it's really close. Just have a pointer on it. Well, you can't see it. TV eats it up. That's okay. The center, on the south there's a center landscape island that was in the middle. We took a little bit out of that and moved it over to the far right one at the corner. So that far right one got about 10 feet larger. The one in the middle got smaller. But we still maintain our 10% landscaping there. A couple concerns that have come up. Also with this new plan, this is presented, has the plan changed a little bit from our neighborhood meeting due to just kind of get open space in there, refining some lots here and there. There was a concern of one of the neighbors about a stub lot to the south. So actually if you look at the corner lot there, that used to have a road that went down, but it was picking up.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was picking up those houses. It wasn't necessarily for a stub lot to the neighbor. But now we've reduced that, and that's our open space. That'll be in there. There could be some amenities proposed in there with a pickleball court or a couple things in there, in that corner. In here, again, we have 60 lots, 9 common lots, and 6 commercial lots that run across. 5 of those run across U-Stick and 2 over on 10th there. And then you have Walgreens on the corner, which is not part of this. Our neighborhood meeting was held, letters were sent out the 28th of August. We held it September 15th. It was on site, and 19 neighbors, at least, were in attendance and signed the sheet, which you have seen too. Talking points and concerns they had were density, where's the irrigation going to come from, and how do we access, again, to the neighborhood going south, but that's been revised here. Irrigation to the south, there is already irrigation to the property. We're just going to extend it around, put a little pump house in that corner common area and extend it around to the site from there. And density, we'll talk about that in a moment too. Site and surrounding uses. The site currently is zone C2, which, as Katie's pointed out, city commercial. To the north is single-family residential. To the south is C1. To the east is C1, and to the west is community commercial. The uses on that, we're currently vacant or farmland. The north are single-family homes. The south are single-family homes. To the east are Walgreens, Maverick, and Walmart there as well. To the west is the Sotera subdivision. There also is a commercial portion of that kind of adjacent to our site on U-Stick across Kimball. Surrounding comp plan, the site is community center. The north of this, which is currently single-family residential, is also comped to be community center. The south is neighborhood 2. To the east and the west are both also community center as well. Kind of going in there, our southern 8.84 acres are rezoned down to R2. Both the C2 and the R2 zones are compliant within the community center place types. The comprehensive plan has this area picked out anywhere, for dwelling units, anywhere from 8 to 15 units, which if we go that high, we're upwards at 90 units. We are asking for 6.8 units, which is 8.8 units, dwelling units per acre, which keeps a little more in line with what is currently to the south of us. So we are asking for that change to be able to have a little bit less than the 8 to 15 units per acre. During the neighborhood meeting, that was a concern, was the high density. And I felt like we had that pretty much resolved with saying, hey, we're lower than the 8 to 15, but we still need to get up there a little bit versus single-family half-acre lots. Public utilities will be extended to our site and through the site. So along U-Stick, we have to run a main basically from the end of Walgreens on the west all the way down to Kimball, as well as extend the street frontage of U-Stick with basically make that extend the Walgreens lane in front of them down to Kimball as well. Also, on the next slide I'll show you, we're extending on 10th, we're also extending that lane down south to the end of the property as well. We talked about sewer, water, and power will all be to the site. We have to run it to the site and extend those mains that are in the road. Police service is 2.3 miles away, and a fire service is 0.22 miles away. I know that's a concern with a lot of developments, but we are within the green of their impact area there. So to the site, we have a full access off of Kimball with a light. We're proposing a right-in, right-out about in the center of the lot there north on U-Stick. And then there's a right-in, right-out coming off of 10th Street in the southeast corner of that. You'll see here we're extending U-Stick down, so U-Stick down from Walgreens down to Kimball, and then we're extending 10th basically from the south of Walgreens down to the end of the site. And that's agreeable. We've worked with engineering on that, and we're in agreement to do that. Again, the landscape plan, this is pretty close to what it was, or what's been sent back today. It'll be in your packet. Like I said, we just increased a little bit on the southeast corner there. But overall, it's there. We're doing curb gutter sidewalk landscaping all along U-Stick, all along 10th, and then interior perimeter landscaping with that as well. Kind of give you an idea, we do have a 10% of open space, so it ends up being a little over 380, well, 40,000 square feet of open space in the site as well. And then to give you, this is kind of an example of what is proposed for the residential homes that could be in there. And we agree with the conditions that are in here, and we will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
So I guess, let's talk about the neighborhood meeting, and obviously density was a question. So why don't you explain to me how you feel like your density transition is appropriate for this application?
To come from versus 8 to 15 units per acre,
Yes.
come down to here.
And explain
right.
how your lot size, especially on the south, because they don't usually, sometimes council likes to see them match up size for size. Do you feel like that is a good transition that you're providing to the neighbors to the
Yeah,
south?
so go back to the neighborhood meeting. It was on site. We had a member who actually lives in this neighborhood talk and was basically saying this is a fairly good idea, right? The city does want 8 to 15. We could propose, 90 units would be an apartment complex back there, which we don't necessarily want. So the compromise is to give, single-family homes, which gives us 60 units per acre on that. And so our compromise is like, hey, we could have 90. We could be proposed to 90, still fit the comprehensive plan. We are, again, we're fenced, and it's a good transition from the commercial down to, 40 wide lots and then back into their, I don't know how wide their lots are. They could be 80, maybe 100 feet wide.
Okay.
That's back in there. So that's kind of how we feel. It is a transition from single family to a little more denser single family up to commercial on the street. That's how we feel that is.
And then, so this site, and I forget reading the staff report, but it's been zoned commercial for a while. Has it just not been viable as being developed as an entire commercial site? Was the intent never to have full commercial at this site? Was it always to have some residential later on down the road?
That's a good question. I was not involved when the first thing was initially zoned commercial. My thought is when Walgreens purchased, they had to purchase all of this, so they zoned it commercial to get the Walgreens in there. But the way that commercial, it is hard to make neighborhood commercial work if it does not have street frontage. And so as you start to front U-Stick and start to front 10th, well, now you've blocked anything behind that, whether it's to the south or to the west. And so to make that viable commercial, you're gonna put your commercial on the corner. And again, it's neighborhood commercial, right? We're not talking high intense uses in these. You're talking a bank and the insurance guy or things like that type uses. And so what you have behind it is residential, which uses those neighborhood commercial, amenities there, is how that typically works. And so again, it's just hard to make all commercial work when it's neighborhood commercial, it's not high intense commercial.
And then I think this is a question for Haley. Haley, I don't think I saw a traffic study. Is that something later on that they're gonna be required to do?
That is correct. Initially, we didn't require a traffic study because it didn't meet our threshold. However, after examining this property a little bit more closely, recognizing the major intersection that U-Stick and 10th is, I did require a traffic study a little bit late in the game. So I'm the reason that traffic study is delayed because I required it a little bit later than what we typically would, but they are working on that right now.
And will that traffic study, the findings be available for council?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe the plan is that traffic study will be ready for council. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yes, the traffic study, I think it's part of our requirements to have it ready for council. We'll have it ready in about 3 weeks
Okay.
with that. Again, it just came late in the game, not that it's Haley's fault. You know, everybody was kind of saying, ITD actually commented there was no traffic impact study needed. But it's okay, we're willing to do one, it's underway now. We just don't have it today.
Okay, okay. I think that's all the questions I have for you at the moment.
Okay,
Anything
great.
else you'd like to add before you?
I am good, I'm sure I'll be back up.
Yes, yes, you will. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to open this up for public testimony, and Jeff was the only one signed in in favor, so a neutral is my next slot, and that is Carla Short. Do you not want to speak? Carla doesn't want to speak? And then Kirby Skort, do they not want, are they here? No, did you guys want to speak, change your mind? No? Okay. Those are the only people I had signed up in neutral. In opposition, we're going to start off. I have a few people, Eric Shannon and Susan Roll. They said they do not want to speak. If you change your mind and you would like to come up and testify, at the end, I'll ask people, and you're more than welcome to. Next would be David Kroll. He did check the box to speak, so please come up, name and address.
Good afternoon, Madam Examiner. David Kroll, 4521 Pine Mountain Avenue, Caldwell, 83607. Some of my comments address the exhibits that I saw in the agenda packet. It appears that the map here is
They've updated,
quite
yes.
somewhat different. I still have comments to address that. I understand the late notice about the traffic study coming in. I still believe I believe it's called Natuno Road in the south
could we
easterly
get
corner of the development.
Can we get like a little site plan so we can see where he's talking about? Go ahead.
It's along the southeasterly corner of the development where it exits out onto 10th Avenue.
Okay. Oh, go back to the one where I had the aerial.
There you go. What?
No, keep going back.
Right there.
Yes, that one. Let's see that. So, okay, the
Not-
one that's going to go out to Ustick? Okay.
Yeah, the one that
Okay.
goes out to Ustick. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at,
Different one? Did you want a different one?
yes, I think it was the slide right before this.
Okay.
That's not it? Yeah, it's black and white. There we go.
Okay.
That's the one. I believe it's Natuno Road that goes out to 10th. That is poorly designed for an intersection. I realize it's a right in, right out. It probably would be better suited about 300 feet northerly, so that it lines up with the existing Walmart driveway. And should this go forward, I would request that revision be made to the preliminary plat and final subdivision plat map. Should the roadway be left where it is, I would ask that a masonry block wall be required, probably 7 feet in height, to separate the roadway and that small corner open space from the existing residential development, and that masonry block wall be placed on the subdivision and be maintained by the subdivision. The developer did mention the potential at the new open space in the southwesterly corner, potentially a pickleball court or something like that. As it backs up to existing residential that was not expecting something with any noise intensity, I would ask that that be passive use only, no play equipment. Grass and trees would be fantastic. The housing along the south side of the development, I would request be restricted either through map conditions on the preliminary plat map and on the final plat, that those be restricted to single-story residences with a maximum height of 20 feet. That's consistent with the houses that are the existing development to the south in the Cumberland Estates development. And the green space along the south side, that is between the two residences about midway, that should be eliminated.
Oh, okay.
Those types of things just tend to become an attractive nuisance. That
Okay.
concludes my comments. I'm available for any questions.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
do have a few questions. Okay,
Yes.
David, let's talk about the driveway. So I think the reason why they have the driveway at that location, and I'm sure Haley will comment, is due to the separation they need based on the intersection.
Separation from 10th?
Yes, yes. And so I think that, and go ahead, Haley, you way better fitted to answer this question than me.
Yes, thank you. And I agree, there really is not a perfect placement for the driveway location along 10th Avenue. Unfortunately, there have been a lot of previous roads that are constructed along 10th. None of the existing conditions meet our spacing requirements. And so the Madam Hearing Examiner is correct. We worked through our spacing requirements. We looked at all of the surrounding existing conditions in a lot of detail to try and determine. We looked at moving it further north to align with the Walmart, but then you start having other conflicts with the proximity to the intersection, the proximity to the Walgreens access. And so we've gone through several iterations, and that is one of the reasons that I did require a traffic impact study a little late in the game, is that I want to ensure that the traffic engineer examines the intersections onto our existing roadways to make sure that any added access points are going to be safe for the existing residences as well as any new residences that may be added with this subdivision. So that will be examined with the traffic impact study.
Thank you. That being the case, I still would request that, since it appears that that roadway may end up there in the, permanently, that there be a 7-foot masonry block wall constructed.
Okay, so let's talk about that, David. So why a masonry wall? What's wrong? First of all, there's height exceptions. I don't believe we can do any fencing over 6 feet in height.
6
Correct.
is residential zone.
Yes,
Correct.
so, and they'll be required to fence it. There will be some fencing. Do they have their fencing proposed in the landscape plan? They should.
The reason I asked for masonry block along the roadway is just for durability.
Okay,
That the existing, my experience has been that where I came from and was involved with development, we required masonry block walls on backup
Okay.
road situations like this.
well, we can talk to the applicant. It looks like they are providing a vinyl fence, which would be 6 feet. And we'd have to be careful on the placement of that fence because we have a vision triangle for safety purposes, so that when people
Understood.
access. Okay, great. And then the amenity, he did mention a pickleball court. We can have him touch base on that. I was a little concerned about the space and the location. So we can discuss that with the applicant and see if maybe something a little more passive and agreeable. And then, and I would have to talk to him about the single story as well. So we can discuss, those could be options. Were those things that you brought up during the neighborhood meeting did you attend the neighborhood meeting? And if you did you bring those up?
No, I didn't. I
Okay.
didn't attend the meeting. I wasn't aware of the time of the meeting.
Okay.
We're outside the 500-foot notification
Okay, I see. Okay,
radius.
okay. Well, thank you, David.
You're quite
We
welcome.
appreciate your input. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next, I know I see a hand, but I'll have to call you up, and then if I didn't read your name and you decide you want to come up, I will let you then talk. Okay. So hold that thought. Hold that thought. I have to do it in order. Okay, so Sherry Mascola? Marsicola. You said you do not want to speak. Would you? Oh, Ray, you're next. I just want to make sure Sherry doesn't want to speak. Correct? Okay. All right, Ray, then come on up. Okay, Ray,
Hi,
name and
good
address.
afternoon. Ray
Please.
Marsicola, 107 Appalachian Street, Caldwell, Idaho. And I just want to say that I did send an email to the Planning and Zoning Commission and received notification that it was received and passed on to the individual or individuals that it needed to be. And I thank you for that. And consequently, part of my concern, well, my major concern was the plat map, the subdivision layout is much different than what they initially
Yeah.
showed us.
Yes, I know that.
And we never received a copy of this. So this resolves a lot of my conflict.
Oh, that's great.
Since I am that pie-shaped in the very corner.
Oh,
on the
yes, where they had the
southwest-
stub road to your house, yes.
Southwest, where they wanted to put a dead-end street
I
9
saw
feet
that.
from my backyard fence,
Yes,
which I was in great opposition to for many reasons.
sure.
But I would like to say that we believe that rezoning this parcel would be detrimental to Caldwell's growth. Caldwell is a growing community with the need for commercial growth as well as housing. But once this property is developed, it's gone forever. There's no reclaiming it. If it is approved, our opinion that the commercial would take a back seat to the housing development getting underway, which is what's happening at Soterra, the subdivision that is currently being built to our west along the backside of our subdivision.
To the west, yes.
And I know that the developers always say that with housing first, the commercial will follow. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case for Caldwell. I know most of the commercial that's being built now is going along the 2026 corridor, which is, I guess, more beneficial because of the traffic flow. But another major concern we have with losing this property is that the housing that's going to be built with a R2 designation is much less value than the existing properties in our subdivision. And I feel it would be detrimental to our property values due to the fact that they would sell for approximately a quarter of $250,000 less than the homes that are existing in the subdivision right now. And like I say, with the changes to the plat map, that's all I've got, so thank you.
Okay, Ray, I do have a question. So what would you prefer to see here then? If they didn't have an application, you'd want to see this whole site built as commercial, no housing?
That would be my preference, my wife and myself, and I know a lot of the residents in the subdivision that is currently there. That would be our preference.
'Cause
If this gets approved, then we would like to see, like the previous gentleman proposed, is single-family along the north border of the subdivision that's existing, where they want to build the 2 stories. 1 story would be advantageous,
Single-level homes. Is that what you're saying? Not single-family, but single-level?
single level,
Okay,
at least along that northern border.
okay. And then they are proposing 40% commercial, but you just don't feel like that is adequate for this area?
Well, it's hard to say. It depends on what kind of commercial they're planning. It seems like 40% commercial of 16 acres would be, I guess it would be in line with community commercials, smaller businesses, like banks or doctor's offices or something like that. We would like to see a larger scale commercial in that area, but those are just wishes.
Sure. I don't know if, like, this area, this community commercial area, Katie, is really zoned appropriately for more big box. No, it's gonna be more light commercial. Can you give? better
Madam
description?
Hearing Examiner, I'd have to check the land use schedule really quick to see if a big box like store could be located here, but based on looking at the lot sizes for these commercial, staff would not find that that would be adequate here.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, just wanted to get information for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate your time. Next to speak is Laura Shannon. Hello, Laura.
My name is Laura Shannon, and I live at 4707 Middlesboro Way. And good afternoon, Madam Hearing Examiner. I respectfully request this application be denied and that the property in question retain its commercial zoning status in its entirety. I submit to you that the current zoning status of C2 on Caldwell's land use map is consistent with the Caldwell Comprehensive Plan's vision for this area as a community center place type and a commercial hub. As a community center place type, the comp plan designates it from page 36 as, quote, a low to mid-intensity commercial place type that focuses on creating a destination for residents, unquote. And from page 37, quote, not primarily residential, unquote. And from page 79, intended to become, quote, a vibrant gathering space. Ambrosia's numbers have been presented inconsistently, but according to the neighborhood letter, 7.92 of its 15.96 acres will be devoted to residential development, far exceeding that intended for this place type and reducing the available land for future commercial services. Surely the developer knew his property's zoning status, what it was when he purchased it. A rezone of this prime commercial spot to residential would be short-sighted and would hinder the comprehensive plan's Chapter 7 stated goal to create intentional and distinct centers to serve Caldwell's neighborhoods. Caldwell needs commercial development. This land was earmarked for such use under the Nancolis administration. It is ideally located for accessibility near the corner of two key corridors, and it's one of the last available parcels for such use in the midst of several established neighborhoods. The comp plan, Chapter 4, Goal 3.6, specifies that the development of such place type should, quote, engage community members in the planning and design process, unquote. As intended, a retail hub and gathering place should first be mapped out with housing to complement the area as a secondary use. In written remarks, the applicant suggested the intensity of this project is not significant to the surrounding properties. But I submit to you, this proposed development adjacent to single-story homes in the Cumberland Estates will feel significant to those who share a fence and no buffer with the proposed subdivision. We would welcome residential use as a gradual transition to the commercial areas, but this development will bring houses peering into our backyards. It will bring intense residential parking needs, which will also conflict with the commercial parking. It will bring density and density-related issues to our neighborhood. If you look at the pictures in the comprehensive plan of the community center developments, the commercial areas are shown with gathering spots, courtyards, town center type looks, and I just see putting this residential area in there at the get-go without having a larger plan as conflicting with the comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I did have a question. So I did see your email in my packet. Thank you very much. And so I really like how you talked about the comp plan, and I know that the comp plans are just more visual ideas. That's not going to be exactly how things are going to be designed and developed. They're just give the developers some direction. But I mean, what would you think would be appropriate amounts? Right now, they have 40% designated. Like, what would you?
So I would see it in the comprehensive plan. There's a land use graph that shows, I believe, less than 20% of it as residential. And so I saw in there mentioned, you know, a library annex. We would love to see senior housing in that area. We live in a development with, I think, 140 houses, and probably 90% of us are over the age of 65 or 62. Anyway, we're getting there where I have a mom that lives in my development. She's 91. She lives in her own home. I have a mother-in-law who lives in our development. She's 87. They have both looked for something that they could move into that would be they're not ready for assisted care, but senior living. I have another friend that just moved out of the community because the only housing like that she could find is subsidized housing, and she is not eligible for subsidized housing. So having an area, a hub that, catered to the senior citizens would be perfect in that location, because you've got a clientele that's coming out of Cumberland Estates needing that kind of living when they can no longer take care of their homes.
Okay. Well, thank you for all your information. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so next on my list, I'm gonna stack these so I don't lose them. Donna Musted? Yes, close. Oh my goodness, I'm terrible at this. You listed you didn't want to speak. Have you changed your mind? Would you like to come up and testify? Okay. Chris Mustad? Same? Yeah. Okay. And then I have a Walter, oh boy, Units. He didn't mark either speak or do not speak. No? Are you sure, Walter? Okay. Oh, we have it. And then Bob and Jean Bunch. You don't want to speak? Okay. Lori, Units? Yeah, okay, same. And then Paul Melbourne? McLean? Did you like to speak? Come on up.
Paul McLean, 113 Appalachian Street, Caldwell, A3607. I do want to say that this plan is a lot better than the last two plans.
Okay.
But again, I keep hearing also the Soretta people were talking about we can't do commercial there because we put stuff there and it blocks it. People can't see the inside. Right across the street is Walmart. They're basically on the same space as this plot here, and they have their parking lot in front. There's a bank in front. People can see the store, no problem. That is super busy all the time. In fact, it's a lot of times very busy. People complain about the fact that
It's too busy?
it's too busy.
Yeah.
So the whole thing about don't have space for small, medium-sized commercial, I think they're just saying that because they want to make more money than they would on commercial. Also, the lots where I particularly live and everybody that's on that south side, you're going to have 3 different homes looking into our personal homes, whether they're a single story, single family, or 2 stories. So that really kind of doesn't match from what I've seen. Also, the last 2 times people have tried to put something in, well, like one time they tried to put residential here, also next door at Soterra. Both times they've been turned down because these are designated for commercial. It's needed there. Don't know how long it's going to take, but most of the people that live in that area, I mean, yeah, we can go to the local Walgreens and the pharmacy, but for everything else, we have to go somewhere else, and a lot of us go outside the city because it's just more convenient to go somewhere else. I'm sure the city's planning to eventually develop farther west, and there's more homes being planned to the west of us, not talking about Soterra. All those homes are going to be in there, and they need someplace to go to buy their products also. So putting in more residential here, which means they need to go somewhere to buy stuff too. Granted, there is some commercial going to be here, but from what is there now and what is proposed to be in that whole area, we definitely need the commercial.
So, Paul, what previous applications are you talking about?
There was a previous application for this particular lot, and they were putting in multi-story apartment-type homes.
Okay.
Okay, and then on the Soterra, same thing. They were saying they can't get in commercial there because the plot's too deep, and I'm not talking about big box, but still, you go to a lot of places and the retail is not set on U-Stick. It's set back from Ustick, it would be set back or any other major streets you see. Parking lots are in the front, okay, open spaces in front. A few things are put on along maybe the main road, but you have visual all the way back, just like across the street from 10th.
At Walmart?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the thing is that I know that, prices of homes doesn't matter. I've been involved in that before where I used to live, where people were complaining about, you're gonna put those homes in, it's gonna lower our value. That's not the concern, but the concern is the placement of the homes, the fact that it should be commercial for everybody else in the community, not just for these people. So,
Okay.
that's it, I think.
So if there was better transition, if they were limited to single story, or would that ease some of your concern?
A little bit, but the main thing I'm concerned about is the fact that it should be commercial, just flat out.
Okay.
The people, like I said, people that currently live there and the people that are going to be living there from the homes that are gonna be built, okay, need more commercial in that local neighborhood area. Otherwise, we go somewhere else already. I don't go to Walmart most of the time. Either they don't have what I want, or I know it's really busy. I go in there, do recycling a lot, and I buy a few things. But I've heard many comments where, you know, you go in there and you're looking for something, and they're super busy, it's crowded all the time, hard to find parking space, because it's the only place within several miles to get some food. It's almost like a food desert. If they weren't here, it would be a food desert.
Okay.
Okay?
No, I understand, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Okay, I had people that wrote on the back of that. Okay, I think we're done with those. I think I've stalled more. So, oh, okay, I think I read them.
Yeah, so that
So-
one, you can read that.
Okay, Bruce Davis, yes, come on up. And then you, okay, I see what you did. Okay.
Madam Hearing Examiner, just while he's walking up, I do want to clarify. In the C2 zone, the largest commercial that they could build would be an 80,000 square foot building. Big box is not permitted.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor, or Hearing Examiner, I appreciate this. My wife and I, we moved here
Oh,
8 years ago.
Name and address, please.
Pardon?
Name and address first?
Oh, 4413 Pinnacle Place,
Okay, thank you.
Caldwell, 83607. We moved here 8 years ago, and the next year, we were hit with what we're talking about right here in this area, the subdivision that's proposed right now. They wanted to build 16 3- and 4-story apartment buildings. We moved into that subdivision, and it was called the Jewel of Caldwell for a reason. And if you put that kind of growth around us, what does that do to us? And I understand the developer, he needs to make money, and that his back is against the wall right now. Because unless he can put 60 or 90 houses in there, he is gonna lose money, and he'll have to say, I can't do this here. I totally get that, but that's not our problem. We shouldn't be forced into something because somebody else bought something and figured they could get it pushed through without objection. Well, I guarantee you, I'll stand corrected from earlier, there was a statement, there's 156 houses in the Caldwell subdivision. And if we need to get a paper from every household opposing this, my wife and I will do it. We'll walk door to door. We know 90% of them already, because we've done this twice. We did it with Solterra behind us. They wanted to put in apartments. They wanted to put in 2-story everywhere. And we told them, okay, we'll allow some 2-story against the far side by the canal, but we want single-story right behind Gap Creek. And that is what they're doing, is they're doing what we ask. And the homes, for the most part, match what our subdivision is. And that we can appreciate. But if you come in here and you have these lots that are I'm assuming they're like 40 feet wide by 100 feet long. It's like going into a rail car and looking from one end to the other. It is not going to match our subdivision whatsoever, and it's going to be taken away from it. Yes, I have seen pictures of what they posted up here today, but if you want to go across the street behind the veterinary clinic, you can see what happened over there. There's a green row of buildings over there, and they look like army barracks. We do not want army barracks behind our subdivision. So it should stay commercial. I'm sure there's ways. No, you're not going to put a Walmart in there or a Kmart or whatever them big box stores are, but you could get some smaller builders to come in there and maybe have one or two, and it would split the thing in half, and they would be on just two sides of it with a street coming down the center with their parking. I'm sure if they had to, they could, but I think what the problem there lies is they wouldn't make any money. And that's the whole bottom line of the whole thing. That's my opinion. So would I prefer commercial all the way through? Yes. Do I think it'll be that? That all depends on recent election. We voted in some new commissioners, and I'm hoping they see things our way. You know,
So Paul, if,
Bruce.
oh, I'm sorry, Bruce.
That's
Oh,
okay.
Goodness.
I've been called worse. I like Paul.
So
He's a
sorry.
good guy.
Bruce, that was the last guy. So let's talk about transition. If there is some residential, what kind of transition would you like to see?
I would like the developer to go into the Cumberland Estates, park on any street, and take a picture of that city block and say, I'll build this over here. Because
Okay.
it'll go from 62 houses, it'll go down to about 32.
Okay, so you want the whole thing designed, not just
If
what's
you
right.
want to match what we have and make everything look aesthetic to the neighborhood, even with Solterre, as much as we fought with them, and yes, they're wanting to do the same thing on their little plot of ground up there. But in these 100 or 80 by 100 foot, 40 by 100 foot lots, and build these little tiny army barracks everywhere.
Okay,
And that, when you take a look, well, what does that do to our subdivision? I mean, you know, John Evans and the current mayor, our current mayor, 2 times ago, the mayor that was here for like 30 years, they decided this was going to be the jewel of Caldwell, and it did. And right now, even when a house comes up for sale in our subdivision, even barring the interest rates where it's at, they sell quickly because people want to live in that subdivision. So if you do something like this, it takes away from it, and it kind of puts a blemish on us. So I'll have to answer any questions if I can.
no, I think you, explained, everything well. Thank you, Bruce. I
You bet.
appreciate your time. Okay, so Bob and Jean, we already had. Lori, we already had. And then I think the last one is Paul McIntyre. He did not mark to speak or do not speak.
That was probably Paul McLean, and I spoke right.
Okay,
After the Burgess was me, Paul.
okay. All right, so I have went through the whole list. Who would like to speak now? You can come up. Come on up. Name and
Thank you
address,
for
please.
allowing me to come without signing in. I'm at Marshall Smith
Okay.
at 303 Appalachian Street. I'm about 5 houses west of the postal boxes. You had a question regarding what was brought up at the August meeting.
Yes,
This man, and this young man here, he said that he does not know what's going to go on. All they want to do is buy it to get the commercial in on Ustick, and that from there, they were going to sell the rest of it and didn't know what was going to happen from there. So, you know, we were hanging in the air now for a long time. We're on the rather neutral side here because with the way Caldwell's going, it's going to be developed, okay? But we were able to get rid of the 3- and 4-story with the city's help. which would have brought in probably 600 cars, up to 600, 400 to 600 cars, which would make her job pretty hard. Anyway, so he said they didn't know anything about that. So we've been sitting all this time wondering. So now that we're coming closer to it, we're going to probably have more meetings. But one thing I do agree with is the homes along the south side, the fence on the south side of the developing property, that they be one story. Also, I was in agreement with the possibility of something for seniors, but, and then also for Bruce, that the lots are going to look like we're narrowing down into a lower income level. Not that there's a problem with that, not against that. It's just that it's such a small area that what we have at our development across the fence, like Bruce was saying, others are saying, it will affect the value with that size of home. But, you know, we're willing to work with that and would appreciate the one story against the fence for privacy.
Okay, that sounds great. Did you have anything else you'd like to add?
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that did not sign up that would like to speak? Yes, please come up. Name and address.
My name is Robert Nash, 10365 West Highlander Road, Boise, Idaho, 83709. I just want to say, you know, there are 16,000 people, or 18,000, that are between the ages of 20 and 40. I have 6 kids. And when I saw and heard about this smaller affordable housing, which is a stated goal of the city, I thought, what an opportunity. I do find it curious that people live right there, and I do have some empathy, make it everything about them. There's a whole lot bigger picture here. You know, and so I just want to say there's a lot of people. My brother wants to move back from Nashville. I was telling him about this project. I have 6 kids, 4 of which are at the age to buy housing. There's no affordable housing. I understand preserving values. I find it curious that they would think commercial would increase their value more than transitional residential. Every other city I've seen requires a transition, which is for their benefit, not against it. Some of the facts are pretty curious. Anyway, I hope this project gets approved. We need affordable housing. You know, we can't all build up to the standard that people have been here forever. We need places for workers, for our kids, for our grandkids, and I'm a grandpa, so that's my angle, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Robert, for your information. Anyone else that would like to come up? This will be your last opportunity. I'm going to let the applicant come up for rebuttal. So, no, everyone's good? Okay, would the applicant or applicant's representative like to come up? We'll give you 5 minutes. And I have a list. I saw you taking notes, so you have a list of concerns that the neighbors addressed.
Jeff Lax again, 1119 East State Street. Yes, Madam Examiner, thank you we appreciate all of the comments, we really do. I'm going to run through this real quick, and then our developer's here as well. He'll just answer a couple of questions as well. I guess to answer most of the concerns that we see are, you know, they don't want the residential next to their residential. In my opinion, they don't want a Walmart behind them either, at 50 feet tall with delivery trucks and lights and all that happen. There's a lot that goes into, even an 80,000 square foot building isn't a Walmart size, but it's bigger than, you know, a grocery outlet or a Target. You know, this is quite a sizable building. And that just brings a lot to someone's backyard, which is why we're proposing to put the commercial on the street with transitioning with those. There's another concern, mostly with the 2-story houses kind of along our south property line, their north property line there. We disagree with that. We hope you'll approve the 2-story there. Again, with some setbacks, their current setbacks are setbacks. Those are a minimum of 40 feet apart there. And so I don't believe there was anything when the residential development went in, saying they couldn't put two-story houses on their property. They just, when the developer built their property, they just put single-story homes.
Oh, to the west?
Excuse me?
You're talking about the project to the west of the site?
No, to the south,
Oh,
the
to the
existing,
south.
to the existing residences.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying, yes.
And then address the stuff to the west, which is Sorterra, you may have seen, they have come in at least a couple times. I know that developer, and he's come in a couple times to try and get that rezoned to do other things other than commercial, and it keeps getting denied. To do a denser family, more townhomes, more density. And so again, we're trying to keep some commercial here, but allow the residents behind it. A couple comments were, you could do commercial behind. They are true, you can do commercial behind, and the way the Walmart works is, again, that's a 50 to 60 foot tall building, has lots of visibility. When you do neighborhood commercial, stuff behind has very little visibility because you're only at, 25, 30 feet tall for commercial. So, again, I got Travis here, he's our developer, he's gonna answer a couple of questions if you don't mind.
Okay, so should I ask him my question? Should we let him come up and have rebuttal time, and then I can?
Yeah, let's have him real quick come up.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Travis Stroud, 1980 South Meridian Road, Meridian, Idaho. First of all, I want to say I'm very sympathetic to the comments. I've been in the same position as them. Someone has bought ground next to me, developed, and honestly, I didn't love what they did, but juggling everybody's property rights is difficult. And we tried to be conscious of that here. When we first looked at this, and Jeff and some of my other consultants told me we could go clear up to 15 units per acre, I opted not to. It felt like too intense, it felt like a lot. And second of all, we're primarily commercial developers. So we build grocery outlets, we build Starbucks, O'Reilly's, AutoZone, handful of them. We build a lot of commercial in the valley. We have a pretty good handle on the demand. Like Jeff said, this is neighborhood commercial. And looking at also being conscious of property values, this is the first time that I've had someone say they want commercial in their backyard. That's loading docks, that's wall pack lights, that's pretty intense. At the end of the day, I don't think that's what they really want. The demand's not there, but even if we were to do it, that's going to be pretty intense. It's going to affect their property value worse. And to speak on the last gentleman when he came up, I have kids that are getting ready to buy houses. The affordable housing is important to us. I'm scared for my kids with the average price being $500,000. It's pretty tough to get into a home right now. And honestly, that's why the lots have to go so small, is to try to help those people afford a house to get into something. It will be very well done, though. Our name goes on it, and we live here. So we're going to stand by any project we do. But questions? Some would get
Yes,
questions.
okay, I do have some, so I don't know which one you want to answer. So first, we had the fencing question.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit more about what your plans are, what kind of fencing you're planning to propose?
There will be a fence. It'll be some sort of composite material, whether that be vinyl, some sort of composite wood. Not planning on masonry. I think that'd be pretty intrusive, cold, but it'll be something that blends in.
Okay, great. And then, as far as the amenity,
Does not have to be pickleball.
okay,
And
that's what,
I understand where they're coming from. I wouldn't want to hear that either.
yes. I think it's important to have some nice qualified amenities, and I think council would like to see that. So maybe you don't have to commit to anything, but maybe put some thought into it before council.
Honestly, I like their suggestions of more of an open space, somewhere where someone could have a picnic, so
Okay.
could gather. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a pickleball court.
So since your expertise is in the commercial, what kind of commercial uses do you envision for
It's
the
go-
market that would determine this area?
It's going to be your typical neighborhood commercial. You're going to get some multi-tenant buildings. We'll probably do 2 multi-tenant buildings, which will bring food. Multi-tenant's going to bring food. Banks are your typical neighborhood commercial. You'll get auto parts. You'll get stuff like that. You're not going to get, a lot of uses are looking for an anchor, and we just, quite honestly, the area doesn't demand an anchor tenant be here.
Okay.
But it's gonna, and we're gonna retain this commercial. So this is stuff we're gonna own. So we're pretty finicky on who we build. But it could be coffee, it could be, I'm trying to think of multi-tenant, like Cafe Rio, Cafe Zupas, stuff like that.
Okay.
Food uses. Yeah, that's what we anticipate here.
And then you're not planning on building the homes? Because you're throwing out there's gonna be an affordability price point? and
We have a home building company as well.
Okay, so do you know the price
so-
point of the homes that you're planning on building?
We have no choice but the price point to be somewhere in the 500,000
Okay.
plus range. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, that's entry level.
Yeah, no, I understand, yeah.
Again, I'm scared for my kids. My first house was $92,000, so saying $500,000's entry level kind of
Yeah, it is
makes me
mind-boggling,
choke a
isn't
little
it?
bit.
Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to say before I close the public hearing?
Just
Jeff,
again,
would you-
I'm sympathetic to it, but we all want it to stay vacant. Everybody wants around them to stay vacant land. We're trying to do something that is thoughtful of them. Like, that's why we're avoiding the 15-plus units to the acre. We feel like this is a good compromise.
Oh, I did have a question. Someone brought up that common lot that runs down, like, to the south, that abuts the backyards. Is that, what's the purpose of it? Is that for, like, drainage? That might be a Jeff question.
Which common lot, are you talking about the new common lot that we created
No,
at the
it's the one in
corner?
the center. It's all the way to the south. It's kind of in the middle. Do you know which one I'm talking
I
about?
think that's just green open space, isn't it?
It's just open
Yeah,
space, sorry.
just
It's
green
open space. It's again, we don't want 19 houses right in a row.
Right.
So we have a
Break
lot in the
monotony.
middle to break up the monotony. of,
Okay.
You know, we have 10 houses, 9 houses, that's why it's in there, it's just to help. And it also is, you know, it's required, could be a pathway, it could be just a place to hang out, you know, so it's
Okay.
there.
So, my concern, so I like the commercial, I like the transition, but I'm concerned about the transition to the homes to the south.
I can speak, I wish that we could do a different transition. I wish I could stretch this ground out to 40 acres. The reality is to try to get a mixture of the commercial and a residential to transition into, we just don't have the ground. I would love to take larger lots to smaller lots, but I need more ground to do it. Right now, if you put commercial in there, there needs to be some density, but I'm not willing to go up to the 15 per acre. But we have to have a density in order to get the commercial in there.
Because if you look to the project
We,
to the west, they're matching the lot sizes. And I'm not asking for an exact match, but I'm, like, that, it's pretty, like, you have, some have 2, some have 3 homes.
so I will
Cannot-
say, and I didn't think this was an option, if we were able to sacrifice some of the commercial, that would give us the ability to have that happy medium and limit some of what we're doing on the commercial and go forward a little bit and transition. I'm just trying to find that happy medium where we can get the commercial that the comp plan says is required
Sure.
and not as high, intense of a density of residential.
Okay, because I know council's gonna look at it too.
Yeah,
So I'm just trying to throw some ideas out there and thoughts that help the neighbors with their concerns.
And again,
But also provides that good transition and the commercial that's needed.
the last gentleman made a good point. We're all trying to make financial sense.
Yes, and I
of-
understand, and
of
that
these
works, yes, I understand that it has to work financially for
Yep.
you. So that is where I have my hang-up, is that I would like to see maybe those lots a little bit wider, maybe more single-story options. Because I know that that's going to be a council issue.
And I understand the issue, and we looked at it. We looked hard at it. And I will tell you, multifamily works very well. If, on this project, if you were to do multifamily, it works very well. I'm trying to do something that avoids, because I think most people that had an application in front of you would want to come with multifamily, just given the size of it. It would be commercial and multifamily. We're trying to do something other than multifamily. And this is the best we could come up with, honestly.
Okay, so there's no wiggle room for you on that?
Again, just being honest.
Okay, no, and
not
that's why I
have it-
want to have a dialogue.
Yeah, and not have it work. I'm just trying to make it all work and give the neighbors, none of us are going to get our perfect world. I'm trying to give them something better than what, honestly, I feel like code says we could do.
Okay.
That's what, yeah,
Okay.
we're trying to.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to add, or?
I think that's it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Katie, they referenced some previous applications, was that, did I miss that in the staff?
Madam Hearing Examiner, all that I could find when I looked into the history of this was original annexations of the two parcels.
Okay.
I was unable to find any official applications. I have seen a few different plans for this property that have showed multifamily and things like that, but I haven't found any official application for it.
Okay. So I'm going to close the public hearing, and with talking with the applicant, I have some concerns, and based on the staff report, recommended findings, information provided during the testimony, I'm going to recommend denial of SPP 25-09 and ZON 25-05. I would like to see more transition, appropriate transition, in between those lots to the south. I know council's going to feel the same way, and that's my final decision. So, thank you, everyone. And with that, I will close our public hearing. It is 2:47.